It started with a call. At 11:42 p.m. on a quiet Thursday night, 911 dispatcher Jenna Morales answered line 4, a line that rarely rang except for real emergencies. The voice on the other end was faint, trembling, barely more than a whisper. "Please," the caller said, "I'm still down here." Then silence. No background noise, no traffic, no crying, just static, and a sound that resembled shallow breathing before the line abruptly cut off. When Morales checked the caller ID, something made her stomach turn. The number displayed on the screen was familiar. She'd seen it before, years ago, in a case briefing every dispatcher in the county had memorized. It belonged to Ellen Porter, a woman who'd vanished 16 years earlier. Back in 2007, Ellen had been driving home from her office job in Oakridge. It was a routine Monday, and she'd called her sister around 6:30 p.m. to say she was running late. She never made it home. Her car was found 2 days later, parked neatly on the shoulder of Route 19, doors locked, purse inside, keys still in the ignition. Her phone was gone. Detectives assumed she'd been abducted. Her case went cold within the year. Now, more than a decade later, that same number, disconnected, reassigned, and finally retired, had called 911. Jenna replayed the call. She listened again and again, convinced she'd misheard. But every time, the same detail chilled her blood. The voice didn't sound confused or delusional. It sounded present, as if the caller knew exactly where she was and had been waiting for someone to answer. The call log was pulled immediately. Technical analysis confirmed the number, Ellen Porter's old phone. The catch? According to the telecommunications record, that SIM card had been permanently deactivated in 2008. When investigators traced the source, the signal pinged off a single cell tower located in a dead zone outside of town, a tower that had been offline for nearly a decade. The service company confirmed it. No outgoing calls could originate from it. Yet the recording didn't lie. A call had come through. Detective Mara Lewis, who'd been a rookie when Ellen disappeared, reopened the case. "I remember standing on the highway in the rain," she later recalled. Her car was spotless, like she just stepped out to breathe and never came back. She'd never forgotten Ellen's photo. Shoulder-length brown hair, gentle smile, eyes that seemed to hold both trust and fear. The new call reignited every suppressed lead. Police searched the old case files, questioned relatives, and subpoenaed the telecom company. They found one anomaly: Ellen's last confirmed phone call, the one to her sister before vanishing, had originated near a now-sealed service tunnel connected to the old metro construction project beneath Oakridge. That tunnel had been closed permanently after a cave-in in 2008. The coincidence was too sharp to ignore, so they went back. The tunnel was located 3 miles outside the city, where the unfinished metro tracks still cut into the hillside. Nature had nearly reclaimed the site. Vines, rust, silence. Police unsealed the access gate and descended. Inside, the air was thick, damp, metallic. Their flashlights cut through decades of dust. Graffiti covered the walls. Broken rails lined the ground. About 200 meters in, they found the collapse zone, a section of the tunnel blocked by rubble. But to one side, beneath a sheet of corroded metal, a narrow gap remained. Lewis crouched, shining her light through. Her partner said later she went pale, because just beyond that metal plate, half buried in the mud, was a crushed flip phone. It was black, obsolete, caked in soil and rust. When forensics retrieved it and gently cleaned the surface, they saw the faint imprint of an engraving sticker, the same kind Ellen's coworkers said she always placed on her devices, EP. They pried the back open. The SIM card was still inside. The time of its last outgoing call was stamped 3 hours before the one made to 911 the previous night. No one could explain it. The SIM was corroded but intact, physically incapable of transmitting a signal. And yet, the data logs proved it had made contact with the emergency line. Telecom experts reconstructed the signal path. It traced to the old tower, but with no evidence of transmission origin, as if the call had appeared in the system rather than traveled through it. The call recording was analyzed next. The voice was unmistakable. Forensic audio confirmed 98% match to Ellen Porter. What baffled experts most wasn't the identity, it was the acoustics. The sound profile suggested Ellen had been speaking from a confined space, less than 6 feet wide, surrounded by concrete, but the timestamp proved impossible. That phone had been under collapsed Earth for 16 years. The media got hold of the story. The woman who called from a dead phone. Locals were both terrified and fascinated. Some believed it was a glitch, others something else. Meanwhile, the calls didn't stop. 3 days later, another 911 dispatcher received a second call from the same number. Same faint breathing, same whisper. Only this time the voice said, "He's still here." The line went dead, no follow-up call. That phrase, "he's still here," changed everything. Because Ellen had no known romantic partner, no husband, no roommate. Yet investigators remembered something from the original search. Her manager had told police back in 2007 that Ellen had been frightened of someone, a man from the tunnels. She'd never explained what that meant. Police returned to the site, this time with a full excavation team. It took them 2 days to clear the rubble and reach the far wall of the tunnel. Behind it, they found a chamber, roughly 10 by 12 feet. Inside, remnants of an old construction workstation. Helmets, rusted tools, a decayed mattress, and beside it, a stack of old workers' logs. The most recent entry dated 2007, same week Ellen disappeared. The entry read, "Shift 5 complete. Porter came down again, told her not to. The noise scares her. I told her to stay out when we seal the door. Next time, lock her out if she doesn't listen." The signature line was incomplete, just the letter J. No missing workers from that project matched the initial. But buried in the municipal archives, a permit record surfaced for a subcontractor named Jonas P. Keller. He'd vanished in 2008, presumed dead in the cave-in. Police tried to locate next of kin. There were none. The phone was sent to a digital forensics lab specializing in electromagnetic data recovery. When specialists pulled the internal cache, they found something chilling. A partial voice memo, automatically saved from years prior. The clip lasted only 6 seconds. Ellen's voice, crying softly, and then a man's voice, close to the microphone, whispering, "It's too late now." Then static. The metadata on that file showed the date, October 12, 2007, the night she vanished. To this day, no conclusive evidence links Jonas Keller to Ellen's disappearance. The remains found in the tunnel were non-human, mostly animal bone fragments carried by the floodwater. But one thing has never been explained: the continued calls. Between 2019 and 2024, the 911 center logged 7 additional calls from the same number. Each contained either static or breathing. In one, faint tapping, rhythmic, consistent, resembling Morse code. Analysts decoded it. It spelled a single word: cold. The phone itself remains sealed in evidence. It hasn't powered on since the day it was found. But dispatchers still swear that once every few months, Line 4 lights up with that same number, even when the system is offline. Technicians blame interference. Investigators blame coincidence. But one retired dispatcher, Morales, the first to hear the call, says she still hears it in her head. "She didn't sound dead," Morales told reporters years later. "She sounded trapped, like she'd been trying to get through for 16 years, and finally did." Today, the entrance to the tunnel is fenced off and buried under layers of concrete. Visitors still leave flowers near the gate, the spot where Ellen's phone was found. Some claim that when it rains, they hear a faint ringing from beneath the ground. The locals call it the echo of Line 4. And for anyone who ever takes a call late at night from an unknown number, there's a story every dispatcher in Oakridge still remembers. The story of the woman who called, from a phone that shouldn't have been able to ring. Because sometimes the past doesn't stay buried. Sometimes it calls back. If stories like this unsettle you, subscribe to Hard Tells. New mysteries every week, where truth and terror meet in the places no one dares to look. Because the darkest stories aren't the ones already told. They're the ones still trying to be.